Welcome to Sports Spotlight. I'm your host, Joseph Fazio. Here with me today is senior basketball guard Dylan Bletchner. How's it going today?
Oh, it's going great. Great to be here.
Okay, so the first spotlight we're going to be talking about today is the upcoming Super Bowl. It's going to be February 5th, New England Patriots versus the Atlanta Falcons. How do you think that's going to go?
Well, I think it'll be a tough game for the Patriots, but they looked really good last week. Falcons looked really good last week. I think it'll be a great matchup.
So this is going to be the 7th time that the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl. 4 wins, 2 losses. 2 losses obviously come from the Giants. It's going to be tough for Tom Brady because he's never gone against a really strong quarterback like Matt Ryan.
Yep.
But I think the Patriots may pull it out. It's going to be tough for the Patriots defense to go against someone like Julio Jones, 6'6", pretty tall.
Yeah, I think the Patriots defense, what they do better than any team in the NFL is they take your top target and they shut them down. That's what they've done all season. That's what they've done for the last 15 years in their Super Bowl runs. And that's what they did last week, stopping Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. And I think Julio Jones is the first target for them. They're going to shut him down. I think the secondary can live up to the task with guys like Logan Ryan, Malcolm Butler. I think they can shut him down. But I think the real problem that the Patriots have to face is that two-headed running back scheme that they have with Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. I think those two are very dangerous running backs. They can cause a lot of problems for any defense. Patriots won't be an exception, I don't think.
Well, Devontae Freeman, as we both know, had a stellar breakout season last year. He replicated this year, but I think the Patriots line is going to step up. People like Rob Ninkovich, he had a good game last week, stopping Le'Veon Bell. I think it's going to replicate it this week, and if all things line up, the Patriots should win this, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like we have a much better offense, personally.
Yeah.
We have the tendency to build players up, like Dion Lewis, Chris Hogan. Before a couple of years ago, they were really no ones, and Chris Hogan had a stellar game, most playoff reception yards ever.
Yeah, I thought Hogan had a great week. Lewis 2 weeks ago was phenomenal. And I think that Patriots offense is just too much for the Falcons defense to handle. They had a great week last week shutting down Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think they can replicate that. And let's not forget the Packers defense. I don't think that defense is nearly as good as the Patriots D. The Falcons ran all over them, did whatever they wanted, but I think it's going to be a lot harder for them against the Patriots this week.
Any score predictions?
I'm thinking 30-24. I think it's a solid score. Both defenses are very good, but the playoffs come. That's where the offenses shine. And I think it'll be a close game, but the Patriots will come out on top.
Yeah. I'm going to go with 37-30 with the Patriots. A lot of games in the Super Bowls have been close, turned by 7 points or less. So I think touchdown margin for the Patriots in their favor could possibly be what happens, and it should be a good game coming up.
Definitely.
So our next spotlight is going to be about the upcoming NBA All-Star Game. A lot of controversy has come from this All-Star Game. A lot of people and fans are really debating whether the fan voting system should be used anymore. It seems like some players got snubbed who should really be in it, specifically Russell Westbrook and Isaiah Thomas.
I definitely think Russell Westbrook was snubbed. When you're averaging a triple-double, hasn't been done since Oscar Robertson way back in the day, I think you have to be starting in the All-Star game. And Steph Curry starting over him, 2-time reigning MVP, he does it all. But I don't think he's really produced like he has in seasons past. But Russell Westbrook, without Russell Westbrook, the Thunder are nowhere near as good as they are. And I think he needs to be starting in the All-Star game.
Yeah. With Isaiah Thomas, I think he should be starting. Like Kyrie Irving is losing to Isaiah Thomas in points per game and assists per game. That's very important to the point guard role, and it just doesn't seem like Kyrie should be starting. It seems more like the fan vote doesn't really matter for stats. It's more a popularity contest, and it just doesn't seem like it should be used anymore.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with what you're saying. I personally think that Isaiah Thomas should have started over Kyrie. I think Kyrie got the fan vote because he plays for such a good team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, first in the East. But like Westbrook, without Isaiah Thomas, I don't think the Celtics are where they are right now, and he needs to be starting, I think.
Steve Kerr himself called the fan vote a mockery, believes that fans are voting for people who should not be in the All-Star game, and it's taken away from the players that deserve it. Zaza Pachulia, we all know, was 5th in voting, over 1.5 million votes.
Yeah, I think having Zaza Pachulia getting that many votes, has done nothing to deserve that amount of votes. And it seems like it's just turning into a joke, kind of like the NHL All-Star Game with the voting of John Scott. And I just think it's getting a bit ridiculous. I think it needs to go back to the coaches, the players themselves decide who gets in the All-Star Game. And then the fans can help along the way in the All-Star Game with the events, the slam dunk contest, three-point contest. That's when the fans can really get involved.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, so the next spotlight that we're going to talk about is the WB girls basketball team. Once again, they're having a stellar season. As of right now, 9-1 in the league. Always seem to have a good year. It seems like they always seem to go over 23 wins, always make it to the tournament. They never seem to go wrong.
Yeah, I think that team, for as long as Coach Barrett is around, is going to be a good team, very disciplined team. They know what they have to do every single game, and especially with the weaker division that we're in, it doesn't seem like we're going to lose anytime soon. And especially this season, I think this season we've definitely got the talent to finally get that state championship, bring it on home. We've gotten so close in the last couple years, but I think this is the year that we can do it.
Yeah. Team's led by Erica Whittam, 1,000-point tour. She seems to be having a good year for herself.
Definitely. I think her and the rest of the team, they're all phenomenal players, been playing with each other for a long time. And I think with that combined with their just sheer talent and skill and the coaching, I think this is the year.
So last year, Coach Barrett hit the 600 win mark. Do you think he'll stay for 700?
Well, I don't know if he'll stay for 700, but I think if he does 700, I don't think it'll be a problem.
Yeah. Okay, so the next spotlight for the episode is going to be about the NFL honors. It's the awards banquet held before the Super Bowl, the Saturday night before. Shows off all of the awards for the season: MVP, Offensive, Defensive, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year. Let's start off with the MVP. Who do you have as your MVP?
Well, who I think is going to win the MVP and who I believe should win are different. I think the MVP award is definitely going to go to Matt Ryan. He definitely showed it last week. Everybody's saying that he's going to win. He had a phenomenal week last week, leading his team to the Super Bowl. But I think that Derek Carr should be the MVP, quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. I think what the most valuable player is the most valuable player to a team. And they were Raiders playoff team, cruising to the playoffs, and then Derek Carr gets hurt in the last week of the season. And then that team in the playoffs, have absolutely no chance to beat the Houston Texans without him. And I think that's why Derek Carr deserves to be the MVP.
I very much agree with you. Personally, I believe that Matt Ryan will also win MVP. Derek Carr did make a great stretch for the MVP title, but with that injury, I think Matt Ryan's just going to take it. Personally, I would love to see Tom Brady win the MVP. 4 games out for the season through a stupid suspension.
Yep.
And getting that MVP trophy would just be sticking it to Roger Goodell, even if he doesn't win the Super Bowl. He had a phenomenal season, as he usually does. Some would say that Matt Ryan had a more phenomenal season, and I'd probably agree with that. Love to see Tom Brady win the MVP trophy, but it's probably going to be Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
So let's go Offensive Player of the Year. I think if we both say Matt Ryan's going to win MVP, he's going to win Offensive Player of the Year.
Definitely.
So a good debate is going to be the Defensive Player of the Year. A lot of people are saying Khalil Mack.
Yeah, a lot of people, it's between Khalil Mack, Von Miller, the usual suspects, but I got a guy that not many people would have seen coming, and that's Vic Beasley. Vic Beasley, rookie last year. Everybody says he's got a great fresh step off the line. He can get to the quarterback, but he didn't really produce the sack numbers that most people think. But this year, he had a coming out year, second year, had 10.5 sacks, 15.5 sacks this season, and that's just an extreme number for a second-year player. And I think that's deserving of a Defensive Player of the Year.
I would probably go with what most people are saying, Khalil Mack. Charles Woodson left the team last year, retired. He put on a good performance for that defense. Personally, I believe that Khalil Mack is the Raiders' defense. They stopped a lot of running backs and fullbacks. He put up some good numbers this year. I believe that he or Vic Beasley, because Vic Beasley did put on a stellar season with those 15.5 sacks. It's going to be one of those two.
Definitely, I think so.
So let's go Coach of the Year. There are probably 2, maybe 3 tops. Personally, I would like to see Bill Belichick win.
Well, I think everybody would love to see Bill Belichick win around these parts, but I think the more realistic option is Jack Del Rio, coach of the Raiders. The Raiders, they've definitely been struggling for the last couple of years, and they just had a phenomenal season this season with Jack Del Rio at the head. I think he really deserves it. He really took that team from nothing and made them into a great team.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. He's probably my second pick. A lot of people are saying the coach for the Falcons just because brought him a Super Bowl, but mostly people believe that it's going to be either Jack Del Rio or Bill Belichick. So let's go on to the Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think that's a hard question.
No, definitely not. Cowboys, 2 unbelievable rookies at the head, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott. One of those two is going to win. I think it's going to be Ezekiel Elliott. Put up unbelievable numbers for a rookie. I think he'll be a phenomenal rookie, a phenomenal player for the rest of his career. Put up numbers like Emmitt Smith. Not many people do that. I think he'd be one of the greats.
Yeah. He was only 207 yards off from Eric Dickerson's record. Some people may say that he'll get in the future. I'd love to see that record broken, because records are meant to be broken.
Definitely. Adrian Peterson was so close a few years ago. It'd be great to see that record broken.
Yeah. Oh, Dak Prescott did put on a good season. Came in for injured Tony Romo, took over that offense. But I think the true king was Ezekiel Elliott.
Definitely.
Going on to the Defensive Player of the Year, there haven't been a lot of great defensive players this year for rookies.
Yeah, definitely not. I think the bulk of them were on the offensive end. And I think it really comes down to between Joey Bosa and Jalen Ramsey for the Jaguars. But I think Joey Bosa beats him by a mile. He had a phenomenal season, missed the first couple games in contract dispute, but still finished with that 10.5 sacks I was talking about before.
Yep.
And that's just a great number to put up as a rookie.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's not much else I could probably say about that. Joey Bosa is probably the undetermined Defensive Rookie of the Year. So, like the last episode, we ended off with a thought, and we're going to do the same today. This time, we're talking about the Celtics draft pick. With that trade coming a couple years ago that sent Garnett, Pierce, and Terry to the Nets, we got a whole lot of draft picks coming from that. We obviously had the first rounder last year that we got, Jaylen Brown. He's doing some work for the Celtics. This year, we have the opportunity to switch first-round picks with the Nets. Right now, the Nets, they're last in the league.
Yeah, they're tanking it.
So if we happen to get the first overall pick, it's a tough decision. It's a very guard-heavy draft, and we don't really need guards right now.
Yeah, definitely. Having the first pick of the draft is a blessing, but it can also be a curse because you have the choice of every single player, and it's very tough to tell who that one guy is that's really going to lead. But I think for me, I think that one player, I think it's very obvious. I think it's Alonzo Ball from UCLA, point guard. Even though we are stacked full of point guards with Isaiah Thomas, Marcus Smart, Terry Rozier, I think Lonzo Ball is a once-in-a-lifetime prospect. His passing ability, his shooting ability. I think as a freshman in college, his passing ability is Rondo-esque. It's just unbelievable how he can pass the ball. He has such great vision, and he can shoot the ball pretty well too.
Also, a lot of players are talking about Markelle Fultz from Washington. He's having a pretty good freshman season as well.
Yeah, definitely. Markelle Fultz. Haven't seen him play a whole lot this season, but I've been hearing he can jump out the gym. He's an unbelievable athlete, and I think that could be useful, definitely for the Celtics. But I just think Lonzo Ball is just a little bit better.
Yeah. So if the Celtics were going to go with a forward, top pick is probably going to be Josh Jackson, small forward at Kansas. He's putting up some stellar numbers this year.
Yeah, definitely for Kansas. The number 2 team did unfortunately lose last night, but he's definitely a leader on that Kansas team. Another very athletic player as a freshman. I think he's definitely a great pick at the forward position for any team.
Some other players came up. Dennis Smith, NC State. They just beat Duke.
Yep.
And not many people have that luxury of being Duke.
Yeah, Dennis Smith. All of these guys at the top, all unbelievable athletes. Dennis Smith can dunk the ball however he likes. He can get to the basket, but beating Duke, that's a huge thing to have on your resume. And he's one of the shorter guards, which I think might be a little bit detrimental to him for the Celtics, but he'll definitely find a home in the NBA.
So most likely, if not the first pick, the Celtics will probably get a top 5 pick. So they probably have anywhere to pick from those 4 players that I just said. There could be a chance that they may trade the pick.
Definitely. I think last year there were a lot of talks about trading that 3rd pick, talks about trading for Jimmy Butler, Chris Middleton, Gordon Hayward, and they all fell through. But I think with this number 1 pick, if it were to stay number 1, I don't think they should trade it. At the number 1 pick, you can get a guy like Lonzo Ball. You can get these guys that are just unbelievable athletes. But I think if we were to trade it, it'd have to be for a superstar.
Yeah.
A superstar being like a DeMarcus Cousins, who would fill that forward position. A Jimmy Butler, unbelievable athlete. One of those guys. It would have to be one of those guys for us to trade that pick.
Yeah, I very much agree. Most likely they're going to keep the number 1 pick. I don't really think that the Kings or the Bulls want to trade those superstars. Like Willie Cauley-Stein, I don't think could replace DeMarcus Cousins in the event of a trade.
Yeah.
Doug McDermott, I don't think he could replace Jimmy Butler. So it's most likely that they're going to be keeping the number 1 pick if they obtain it. So that's all for this episode of the Sports Spotlight. I'm your host, Joseph Fazio. I'd like to say thank you to my guest, Dylan Bletcher. Thank you. Have a good one.